I was humiliated in front of everyone at my own sister's wedding, until a stranger whispered 4 words that changed everything. The Grandview Manor shimmered under golden chandeliers, each crystal reflecting the excitement and laughter that filled the room. But I didn't see the sparkle. I saw a number in my hand. Table 12. The singles table. The loser table. The corner where my sister, Lydia, had decided I belonged. My name is Hannah, and for as long as I could remember, my relationship status had been her favorite weapon. Lydia had married Richard, a man who seemed to have it all: wealth, charm, and a family that could rival a magazine spread. Meanwhile, I was 32, single, and apparently the cautionary tale of the night. She had spent the past year subtly, then not so subtly, reminding me how much I was falling behind. "Maybe try dating apps again, Hannah," she'd suggest at family dinners, the corners of her lips curling in faux concern. "Time is running out, you know." Mom would nod sympathetically. Dad would awkwardly change the topic. But Lydia, she thrived on it. Her happiness felt like a spotlight, glaring directly onto my failures. And now, here I was, standing in the back corner near the kitchen doors, watching waiters scurry past, carrying trays I wasn't allowed to touch. Across from me sat a handful of her single coworkers, barely acknowledging my existence, and my great-aunt Janet muttering complaints about everything from the music to my low standards. The real sting came when Lydia decided it was time for introductions. Like a commander displaying her troops, she marched me over to Richard's wealthy relatives. "This is my sister, Hannah," she announced, arm draped around my shoulder, her grin the kind that demanded admiration while humiliating me. "She's very independent, still focused on work instead of finding someone special." Pity, thinly veiled as concern, filled the air. "Oh dear, there's someone for everyone." "Have you tried church groups?" Every laugh, every whispered judgment felt like it was aimed directly at me. Lydia was enjoying it. The way she said independent made it sound like a disease. I smiled through gritted teeth, trying to make my voice steady. "I just haven't found the right person yet." But that wasn't enough. Richard's mother jumped in with a cautionary tale about her daughter, age 45, fertility issues, and missed chances. The photographer circled back every few minutes, asking if I had a +1, genuinely perplexed when I said no. An hour of this, and I was ready to vanish into the shadows. My only solace was hiding behind a marble pillar during the bouquet toss, hoping to escape attention. But Marian, the maid of honor, spotted me instantly. "Come on, Hannah, this could be your lucky day." She steered me into a ring of giggling 20-something women. Lydia aimed the bouquet directly away from me, landing it squarely in the hands of a younger cousin, Chloe. "Looks like Hannah will have to wait a little longer," Lydia announced with a smirk. The laughter hit me like shards of glass. I retreated to my table, cheeks burning, eyes stinging with unshed tears. I seriously considered leaving, just slipping out before anyone noticed, before Lydia could see my humiliation in full bloom. I clutched my purse, ready to make a quiet escape. Then, a voice stopped me. "Act like you're with me." I turned to see a man standing behind me. Tall, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit, dark hair combed perfectly, eyes steady and confident. He didn't smile immediately, but there was something magnetic in his calm presence. "Excuse me," he said quietly, sliding into the seat beside me. "Your sister just spent 10 minutes explaining your love life, or lack thereof, to her friends. You didn't ask her to do that, did you?" I shook my head, speechless. "You don't mind, do you?" His tone wasn't questioning. It was commanding, like he'd already decided what the right move was. I blinked. I guess not." "Good," he said, extending his hand. "I'm William, Richard's cousin from Boston, and you're Hannah, the sister everyone apparently needs saving." I laughed, disbelief mixing with relief. A stranger stepping in to rescue me from my own family's cruelty. Old friends, he said smoothly, when Lydia's eyes narrowed across the room. She was mid-conversation with the wedding planner, suddenly distracted by us. Her composure faltered just for a moment before she excused herself. Long enough, he added, leaning in with the conspiratorial whisper. Let's keep her guessing. And so, the next hour became a carefully staged dance of distraction. William bought me drinks, laughed at my jokes, touched my hand just enough to make the story believable. But more than that, he listened, really listened. He asked about my work, my hiking trips, my recent trip to Ireland. You're not what I expected, he said quietly. What did you expect? I asked, curious. Someone desperate and pathetic based on your sister's description. Instead, I'm sitting with someone funny, intelligent, and honestly, I can't figure out why you're single. Because I have standards, I said without thinking. He laughed, a warm, genuine sound that felt like sunlight through a storm. Heads turned as we talked. Lydia, pacing near her friends, whispered to Marian with a visible confusion. And that's when I realized something about tonight was changing. Something about William was more than just an act. And if Lydia thought she could control the narrative, she was about to discover just how wrong she was. Sometimes the best revenge isn't in words. It's in the way the world watches you rise. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe. The band had shifted into a slow song, the kind that drifts through the hall with an almost teasing patience. William stood, his dark eyes locking onto mine. Dance with me, he said, extending his hand like it was the most natural thing in the world. Not a request, a command. I hesitated, caught between disbelief and hope. The eyes of the guests were on us, the same people who had spent the last hours silently judging me. But now, with William's hand on mine, I felt a shield I hadn't known I needed. We glided onto the dance floor. His hand rested on my waist, mine on his shoulder, and the rhythm felt effortless. Every step, every subtle movement felt like a silent declaration. I am not invisible. I am not your cautionary tale. Your sister is watching, William murmured as we swayed. I know. And I think she's going to explode. And explode she did. Lydia appeared at the edge of the dance floor, her perfect composure cracking as she realized I wasn't flustered. I wasn't embarrassed. On the contrary, I was glowing. Mind if I cut in? She asked, slipping between us with Richard trailing behind her. William's smile didn't falter. Actually, yes, he said firmly. We're having a moment. Lydia froze, her rehearsed happiness faltering. Her voice wavered as she tried again. I just wanted to say I'm so happy you finally found someone, Hannah. Because from what I've observed tonight, it seems like you've been more interested in broadcasting her single status than supporting her. The words landed like a hammer. Lydia's lips parted, the tight mask of her wedding day perfection slipping. Richard shifted uneasily, sensing tension but not understanding the source. I just want what's best for Hannah, she stammered, grasping for control. Then maybe treat her with the respect she deserves, instead of using her love life as entertainment for your wedding guests. I could feel my chest rising with something I hadn't felt all night. Vindication. Lydia, the sister who had spent years making me feel small, now looked tiny. The rest of the evening became a carefully orchestrated revelation. William stayed by my side, ensuring I wasn't alone, subtly shifting our table to the front, where everyone could see us laughing, talking, and sharing moments that felt genuine, even if partially staged. Lydia's friends, once dismissive,
now leaned in to chat with him. Richard's relatives, previously patronizing, watched us with curiosity. Everyone noticed the difference. Everyone noticed that I was finally in control. "Hannah, you dark horse," Mrs. Wellington said quietly, genuine admiration in her tone. "I didn't realize you were seeing someone so accomplished." William's presence, his charm, and the quiet respect he gave me did more than elevate my status in their eyes. It reminded me of something far more important. My worth had never depended on their approval. Then came the final act, the garter toss. Richard prepared to toss it to the single men. Lydia's eyes widened in panic. William stepped forward, calm, collected, the center of attention exactly where he was meant to be. "Wait," Lydia called desperately. "William, you're not single." He looked at me, then back at her with a sly smile. "Actually, I am. We're just getting reacquainted." The garter landed squarely in his hands. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone, especially Lydia, a man of success, charm, and poise, voluntarily at my side. When he knelt before me, sliding the garter onto my leg with gentle care, the hall erupted in applause. But it wasn't just applause for theatrics. It was acknowledgement, recognition, respect. I caught Lydia's face in the crowd. Fury, disbelief, frustration. It was deliciously obvious. She had spent the entire evening trying to make me feel inadequate, and now here I was, standing taller than ever. The reception wound down, and William walked me to my car. The parking lot was quiet, away from the eyes of the wedding guests. "Thank you," I said softly, the weight of the evening settling over me. "Tonight was just unbelievable." He looked at me seriously. "I know this started as a rescue mission, but somewhere between the first dance and now, it stopped being pretend for me." He handed me a card, his personal number on the back, elegant and deliberate. "If you want to see me again," he said, "not for revenge, not to prove a point, but just because you want to, call me." I took the card, hands trembling, heart pounding. "What if I want to call you tonight?" His smile was steady, confident, unwavering. "Then I'll answer." 3 months later, William and I were officially dating. 6 months after that, we moved in together. 1 year after Lydia's wedding, he proposed, in the very hotel where we first met. Lydia's reaction? Priceless. The sister who had spent years broadcasting my failures was now forced to witness me planning a wedding with the man who adored me, respected me, and by all accounts was even more accomplished than her husband. But the real victory wasn't in proving Lydia wrong. It was in realizing I no longer needed her validation. William had shown me my worth. He had shown me love that was real, not performative, not for show. Our wedding was small, intimate, and joyous. Instead of humiliation, the day was filled with laughter, genuine affection, and the kind of warmth that comes from surrounding yourself with people who truly care. Lydia gave a speech as my maid of honor, a strange request she had insisted on. She spoke of happiness, love, and how she had always known I would find someone special. Revisionist history at its finest. But I didn't care. I had already won. Looking back, Lydia's wedding had been the catalyst I didn't know I needed. Her cruelty, her obsession with my single status, had pushed me into a situation where I met the man of my life. The irony was perfect. In trying to diminish me, she had delivered me to happiness. Sometimes the universe has a way of turning pain into blessing, of taking humiliation and transforming it into opportunity. The night that was meant to shame me ended up giving me everything I had ever wanted, and more. And as William and I stood together, hands entwined, hearts aligned, I realized the ultimate truth. The best revenge isn't making someone else feel small. It's living well. It's finding joy, love, and respect, and never settling for less again. Lydia wanted to show me my supposed shortcomings, I whispered to William one evening as we looked over our wedding photos. Instead, he said, squeezing my hand, she helped you find exactly what you deserve. And in that moment, I smiled, knowing that sometimes the people who hurt us the most are the ones who unknowingly guide us towards our greatest blessings.